Welcome to another Kings of War battle report, tournament report, Goblins versus the Kingdoms of Men, 2150. The scenario was loot. Not going to spend a lot of time on my list since it was just in the previous battle report, but 4 regiments of pikemen, 3 troops of fanatics, 2 hordes of foot guard with a weapons upgrade and indomitable will, a hero on a horse with indomitable will, a Pegasus hero with indomitable will, 3 generals on winged beast, one with the trickster's wand, one with the blade of slashing, one with the mace of crushing, an army standard bearer with the loot of insatiable darkness. So this time I came up to another table. It was there was only 6 of us, and everybody knew each other, so it was really nice for me not to play the people that I knew. And the people that I knew were Ben and Mike. And so I got to play Jim, I believe his name is, and he was a nice young man in a really, really nicely painted goblin army. It was ready to throw down against the Kingdoms of Men. In his army, he had a rabble regiment, a rabble horde, 4 hordes of trolls. Again, I got another spam list. It's so cool. 2 mob beast pack troops, a fleabag riders regiment with the potion of the caterpillar. I just heard on another podcast about using that unit like that, just because it could just zip through, being nimble and stuff, and zipping through woods and causing all sorts of trouble. So I was actually wary of that unit, even though it's not like a killer unit. The unit that I should have been wary of was the mincer mob with the brew of sharpness. That thing is a wrecking crew. Very, very, very nasty, nasty thing. Just a single mincer by itself. 2 wingets, a king with the mace of crushing and the pendant. I think it's Jarun's pendant that gives the army an aura of fury. No, headstrong. Yeah, I think it's headstrong. So he has that, and then he had 3 bangets. So he didn't have the normal goblin blow you away with shooting thing, but when those three bangets and 2 wingets gang up on a unit, they take it down probably as fast as anything I've ever seen in the game. So I guess the bad thing is that they're short ranged, and it's hard to dedicate somebody to go kill one of those guys by himself. So anyway. But I mean, it was an appreciable shooting attack, and though very short ranged one, but effective, I have to say. So he must have had a fairly set deployment that he used a lot of times. Well, the one thing that kind of surprised me is instead of spreading the tokens across the battlefield, they ended up all 3 right in front in a line, and I mean, I had no choice but to tunnel fight. And if any of y'all know me, tunnel fighting is one of my specialties, which means fighting in a battlefield that you go straight ahead. Because I've played so many mega games over the years. I mean, since I was a little kid, played games where I'm playing games on really small frontage. So this actually, even though he's got way more combat power than me, it really kind of plays into my personal strength of playing style. So what he did, though, is he put his Mob Beast unit up in the, you can see it on the upper left up there. And that was what he was going to punch through my lines with. And, of course, anything it touched, it was going to kill, especially with the Brew of Sharpness on it. Are you kidding me? And then all those trolls, which are really also good line punchers. And then both units of goblins were there. Then the wingets and bangets were behind the lines. I had really nothing that could get to them, though, early on anyway. The flea bags were off to the right. You can't see them, but they're kind of way spread right to threaten my flank. Now, what I did is I kind of did the same thing to him. Is I put all those pikemen and all those fanatics right in the front and backed them up with 2 of the general on winged beasts, because at some point in time I figured that I was going to have to step that out of line. In other words, I can't just let him hit me as a line. That at some point in time I'm going to have to either sacrifice one of them or as Sam says, sometimes you just charge them all into one unit and kill it. Which, you know, I mean, you're hitting on 3s. That's like 14 swings on 3s, and pretty much anything but a 1 can pretty much ruin most units in the game that don't have stealth or something like that, or, you know, as long as you're not hindered. So I was ready to do that. Like I said, I just needed at some point in time potentially to step that army out of line so that I could take advantage of it. So on my deployment, I mean, it's basically just, again, pikes and fanatics all the way down. And I was thought about putting the foot guards behind the line just in case of a breakthrough, then I said to hell with it, because he had, if you look over there, I'm just making an honest evaluation. There's nothing on his left flank that could stop two hordes of foot guards. Plus, I had the Pegasus. Plus, I had the other general on wing beast. And so I knew my plan was just to crush his left and then swing. And I'm pretty sure his plan was to crush my left and swing. We both had those woods in our way, though, which is going to screw both of our plans up the entire game. And just to decide, the battlefield was fine. I don't like the woods looking the same as the hills, because the other game I thought they were freaking woods and just was slowing down and going through them instead of just going right over the top of them. But I guess maybe next time I'll throw some more trees in the back instead of making Ben have to lug all that terrain around. But it did catch me off guard one time when I thought I was behind the woods and I wasn't. So maybe we need a little work on the terrain just a little bit. Here's just another view of the deployment, but you can see that his army is tight. I mean, he's in 3 feet of table, except for this one unit right here on the end, which in theory should be doomed with all the flyers that I have on the table. He elected to go first, and so he moved everything forward in a line, like you would figure, and then both of the wingets jumped over the lines to, I think, probably to do the bounce on me. I didn't really respond to this as well. I mean, first thing I should have done is, if you see that general on wing beast in the middle there, I should have just moved him left about 10 inches and angled, so that way if he bounced the lines, I would kill one of them. And if I didn't kill one of them, I should be able to, with my height, even he's over the woods, to charge him. But pretty sure I wasn't going to charge out there into him and just die. But I think what threw me off was the fact that they could run out there and grab those tokens right off the bat. And then I realized they couldn't really get away with them because they can't fly anymore once they have the tokens, and that would be stupid for them to keep them. But anyway, they did have the tokens on the first turn, and so I knew after that I could not mess around playing patty cake with this army. I had to get in there and get those tokens for myself. So yeah, I just advanced quick, just as fast as I could go forward in a solid line. The base you see is actually where the Pegasus is. His wings just kept getting messed up with everything. He's kind of angled toward the to the left. He's not angled toward the house, obviously. He's angled toward the flank of his army over there. I went ahead and just stuck the hero out there running by himself, and I was hoping it would provoke a charge. I didn't think it would, but I was like, he's not really much of a threat. But if I thought maybe if he just lets me cruise along, I could sneak back there and maybe start working on those bangets, by getting around the back of the army. But the other general on wing beast, I just made I decided I was going to try to do something cutesy and line up on him, but I just decided to be patient and try to get him behind the lines on turn like 3 instead of worried about trying to do it so early. So I just shot him straight off to the right over behind the fountain looking thing there, and I know he's not facing those mob beasts. Those flea bags, but I didn't care because my goal was to get around behind the army and fight on turn 3 or 4 and not really worry about these early turns with them. So he used the mincer mob to do exactly what he should do, which is take out pikemen. Since the pikemen don't have there's some of their special rules against chariots, they still have ensnared though, which actually mitigates some of the damage that they're going to take. But they come blasting forward, and obviously with like a million, trillion, quadrillion attacks to hit on 3s, they wiped out the pikemen pretty fast. And trying to punch a hole through my lines, but I wasn't. The idea here though is if you punch there, that means that general is going to fly behind his army, and that was it's going to be my plan. Since he left a hole for me, that means that I needed to exploit it, and I needed to figure out how to close the hole that those mincers made. But you don't see there's another general on wing beast over here to the right, just out of the picture, that isn't quite in range. And like I said, that's where I made a mistake. I should have creeped him that direction to either stop the wingets or to engage in a flank charge on the mincers if they came in. So kind of made a mistake with that. I could have done almost the same thing if I would have nimble moved the general on wing beast over behind the pikemen on the top of the hill, and then I would have had even more charge opportunities, plus the flank of that mincer unit. So anyway, kind of a little mistake, but it's not. The idea here is that he's going to hold the best he could do, and then the pikemen are going to be able to charge him in the flank. Uh, and I realize that they're not huge, but in the front they have the big shield rule. In the flank they have the I'm going to get hurt if I charge you in the flank rule. So this is what's going to happen. So over on this flank, the flea bags did charge into my lone hero there, and he just does what he always does. It just laughs it off. He laughs off dragons. The last game, this game, he laughs off entire cavalry regiments. So, despite the fact that there were the mock critters were on the unit, so that he could have some extra swings on top of that. But yeah, he stopped them dead in their tracks, and I know Sam swears by him, but it's just crazy for a 60-point unit to be so effective and good. If it was armor 6, it would be criminal to use them. But at armor 5, they're still pretty decent, and he was able to take the charge from that whole regiment and laugh it off. So after the fight, the mincers backed up, but they did not back up far enough to get out of the flank charge range of that unit of pikemen up on the hill. And what was really stupid about this thing is that with the flank charge, the I forgot that I had +1 strength coming down the hill. Same from the fanatics in the front. So this melee could have been a lot shorter, a lot less stressful for me if I would have remembered those rules and the fact that I had the advantage of that hill. I just never forget that rule, because I guess maybe we don't play with as big or as much hills as there. And I think I will start throwing them on the table, just because it really helps with your tactics, to have some like bigger pieces of terrain and stuff like these are. So yeah, despite how tough mincers are, 30 in the flank with Bane Chant for 4s and 3s, and then the fanatics hitting with hitting on 3s and 5s. They dropped that horde pretty quick. And so what it did is, like I said before, is it opened that spot. So now that Griffin can go zipping across the table, and now he is behind their lines. He won't get them next turn, but the turn after that, he's going to start doing some mayhem back there. I think that maybe that if he would have just kind of held with the mincers for the longest time, I would have had to keep creeping up and then jump the lines, as opposed to that just really gave me a hole to do it. But I mean, I understand wanting to get the use out of the mincers before they get embroiled in a fight. So makes perfect sense to me. But that allowed me though to get up there, and he's got his mob beast troop is right there in front of my fanatics, and they're going to get to fight it out next turn. And whoever wins that one is going to get that token that's over there. So yeah, the flea bags were in trouble as the feared Teutogan Guard of the Army of Middenland slams full force into the front of their unit, along with the hero that's there. I moved the hero over to since he was there, shifted him over to the right or the left side, and that protects me from getting flank charged a little bit by that horde of rabble. But just in case, I went ahead and just charged the Pegasus in to chaff them up, just to make sure that, Pegasus he's expendable. But even I realized that a horde of rabble is not that hitty, and I have armor 5, and plus I'd flown the other general on winged beast over there, and now he was there radiating his super inspired, as he calls it, all around those units over there. So even if the Pegasus gets whacked, he'll have a re-roll anyway. And I really wasn't that scared that he was going to get hurt, just because, like I said, because they're goblins and they don't fight super well. Because I play Ratkin, and I know what it feels like to not do any damage, with entire hordes of troops. So anyway, but the outcome of the melee, there should have been no way. I think I did, oh my God, how many points of damage to that stupid unit of flea bags, and rolled snake eyes. So that was good. And then up on the hills, I charged in with the Pegasus. I did pretty much like all 3 wounds, I think, and got to roll that test, and it was snake eyes too. So that's 2 in a row. Thank God that one didn't do anything to me. So anyway, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And now you can see I finally started moving my general on wing beast left to deal with those stupid wingets. The middle of his army, and I was, but with him having to charge out of those woods there. I know the left one kept moving the trees around, but some of those are woods. The left one is woods, and hindered charges into pikemen are not going to go well for you. it's just not a good thing. Even those trolls, as powerful as they are, they were gonna, you know, it was stupid to venture. They wanted me to go in there to get them at some point, but and I'm trying to figure out a way to get in there because I want this right token. Right now I think I'm about to get the left one, so we'll see what goes on. All right, I just want to show you this other picture here. If you'll notice in the woods over on the left woods, the big round woods, I'd actually charged one of my fanatic troops into that right unit, or it would have been his left unit of trolls, my right unit of trolls. And the reason why is because I just wanted to do the slow thing down, because I want him to come at me in little dribs and drabs and not let his whole line hit me at once, because that I don't think would be a good idea for me. And so I hit him with those guys, and I rolled 5 wounds on him. So I was really impressed. I mean, that was a highly effective. Yeah, it was a sacrifice thing, but it was highly effective because now he has to kill him. So that's going to put him out a whole other turn of not moving toward that token, which was my goal. I wanted to be able to get up there at some point with those pikemen or something that's really hard to shift and get that token away from him. So that worked out real well. Yeah, I'm going to lose the unit, but I mean, I was just happy as hell that they did 5 wounds. So yeah, here comes the turn of Troll Retribution, and the first time that my foot guard had actually fought a battle in the tournament so far. And so here comes 2 hordes of trolls slamming into the foot guard. Now the horde on that's in the right of the picture, they were hindered, even though they came off the hill, because the woods, I was just in the woods there on that side. Now the left unit of the unit was not hindered, so they were fine. So this is gonna get dicey quick, but it's kind of made possible by the fact that I'd rolled those snake eyes before, and the whole area was gooped up over there. But I think he was just trying to figure out a way to break out and maybe try to get that middle token. So yeah, 2 hordes of trolls, that pretty much paid on most people. So yeah, here they are. The trolls have whacked into me, and then his mob beast pack troop, which is a hard word to say, I just want to point that out to you, moved down to protect the flank of the trolls from the fanatics and the pikemen that were there too. So good charge. I think if he had probably waited a turn and I would have got all the way out of the woods, it would have been a way better charge. So anyhow, we'll see what happens after this fight. All right, he flank charged the fanatics with his other horde of trolls there, which I liked. The reason why is because now he's out of position. He's not in line anymore. Now he's kind of got the step thing going. His mob beast back troop charged into the fanatics and bounced. That wasn't going to be good for them. Now he starts pounding me with these stupid bing its and wing its and ding it, tring it, whatever the hell those things are, and just starts whacking on my units with them, knocking them down quite a bit. I think maybe even that unit of pikemen, which was fresh, had taken 5 in one volley, which was pretty solid. One of the things that I really don't like when I'm playing with armies is I hate art units that hit on 4s basic unless they're just crap units. I mean, good units that hit on 4s, I seem to always roll bad. That's 36 swing. I took 8 wounds. That's not good. But I mean, to be fair, the unit on the left was hindered and needed 5s and 6s to hit. But just to get 8 wounds was just horrid, and it's all because of hitting on 4s. There's just and then rolling a few 1s on the wound, and next thing you know, you've got a horde of really pissed off great swords of the army of Middenheim ready to chop your face off. And not to mention, now I've got all those units on that can flank into that melee as well, because he's moved over here on the other side a little bit. He's kind of out of position because that unit of fanatics, it kind of spoiled him up. And now on the flea bags and stuff are going to go down now too, and it's just going to be a big scrum. So yeah, unfortunately for the Mob Beast pack troop, they did not break the unit of fanatics on the go. The trolls, of course, did slam into the flank of that unit of fanatics that charged into that area there. And like I said, I know you can't tell it, but that's actually a woods. So there was all sorts of hindered stuff going on back and forth between all of us in that particular area. So this is after the fight. The trolls have now moved up to take a front charge potentially from the unit of pikemen. and that's what's going to happen. Maybe, I don't know. So yeah, the great swords of Middenheim charged the unit that was in the that was actually in the woods with them, and destroyed them and started turning toward the flank of the other unit of trolls. Do you remember the hero that survived that stupid charge from the flea bag? Oh yeah, he swings into the back of that melee, 3 hits, 3 wounds. He's a stud. He actually is a positive impact. When I saw that I rolled the 3 hits and 3 wounds with him, I knew that that troll horde was done, just because of him shifting the fight that far. I mean, otherwise it would have been kind of dicey. The pikemen went ahead and charged in the front of them. I mean, I hate to say it, but pikemen can really hold up things 4+ to hit troops for a long time. Um, and then the fanatics went ahead and just butchered the mob beast back troop. And so they started turning towards it because they see a juicy objective sitting there. Uh, the general on winged beast that was in the far right is now coming over to flank and rear charge into those goblins, which you probably didn't really need to. The general on the winged beast flank charged into the goblin rabble horde, and I think that was it. So yeah, I just wanted to show you this picture after the melee. This is what I always say about tunnel fighting. Tunnel fighting, everything is clustered into like a foot of the table. I mean, look at that on both sides. How much unit strength is in like a foot of table? So anyway, that's the chuckle of doing it, is just to see these huge fights and dice throwing contests. It's just a real. I mean, it's really just push straight forward and roll dice. It's not really much tactical thought to it, and in this case, you push forward, roll dice, and don't roll snake eyes. That's really the bottom line. So over here, yeah, the uh, I think his trolls form back up into a line to kind of keep some sort of battle line to protect that token. The I think I'm going to just get absolutely pummeled by the winged sister. I know that my fanatic troop is going to die. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. I mean, they have no armor, and they're going to get just bombed into oblivion with those to get those and get that token back from them. So I think he's just trying to line up here to defend these 2 tokens and do the best he can with the onslaught that's coming from the right hand side. So yeah, the fanatics die. He's done like I think 8 wounds to the pikemen, and they are wavered. That's what the little yellow cheese is there on it. So yeah, he's kind of cleared me out over there with the shooting and stuff, which is what he's supposed to do. So anyway, but I have a line now on that token. I've got a whole regiment of pikemen, and I have a regiment a excuse me a troop of fanatics ready to go over there and try to rescue that token. Okay, so the battle over here on the right is about to get really serious because both units of foot guards are engaging at the same time. The great swords of Middenheim are flank charging into the trolls. They have zero chance of life, especially with the pikemen in front of them. And then up on the hill, the Tübingen Guard go ahead and execute their charge into that big horde of goblin rabble. Uh, the fanatic troop just does the same thing that the last fanatic troop did. It just does a flank, just does a wild charge into the horde unit. I'm sorry, the troll horde on the right. This time, though, the pikemen and the general on winged beast back it up. And yes, here comes our valiant hero bouncing out of the melee to come over and help assist in that fight over there. So yet again, here he is. He's standing right in the middle of the table, defiant. He's got 1 or 2 wounds on him. It's crazy. Yeah, after this fight, there was no snake eyes, and basically we just broke the entire flank of the goblin lines. And now the question is, can I actually get to the stupid tokens in time with the turns? But I did have 4 flyers that are sitting there, so I had a pretty damn good chance of getting there with them. Kind of made a mistake on the flyers in the back, as you see, because one was right in front of the other, and I couldn't use them to do any charges. Uh, because I mean he it blocked line of sight to his own guy, so that was stupid. But again, you can see the flame there denotes the fact that I had bane chanted those fanatics, and I did good damage again to those trolls. I don't know. I think they're up to like 8 or 9. Yeah, I'm throwing away units at them, but they are severely weakened, and it won't take much to take them out. So yeah, in his turn, he brings the mincer around to grab that token away from me. Uh, Pretty sure this turn is when I lose that unit of pikemen there. They're just going to get pummeled by wingets and thingets and zingets this turn. Uh, really couldn't do anything about it. I mean, charging into those woods is just like I've been messing with him about him charging the trolls out of the woods into them and doing nothing. It's exactly the same thing about me charging into the woods. So there's not a win here except I'm going to get shot to pieces. But that's okay. But that's just the risk you take. So I charged the two generals and the pikeman regiment into the trolls and easily destroyed them. Despite being hindered, it didn't really matter. I mean, because the fanatics had done so much damage to them, it didn't really take much damage to kind of tip them over the top. So now, this is kind of Custer's last stand. He's sitting there with the other unit of trolls and the mincer, and that's it. Now I finally have the the token that's in the middle of the three, the right hand token. I actually just brought the Pegasus back down uh, and had him hold that token because I didn't want to have to move the other guys around. And after I thought about it, maybe it wasn't a good idea because he could bring his wingets around there and potentially shoot him and make him drop it, which I think was his plan, was just to make me drop it. So anyway, I did move it up eventually up to the top of the hill behind the unit of foot guard that's on top of the hill up there, and try to protect myself from in case I did drop it, that I'm standing right next to it so I could pick it back up pretty easily. So yeah, I went to the restroom and came back, and it looked like the trolls had teleported across the battlefield. Well, they had. They went ahead and charged into my ASB, which was standing there by himself. So I guess they knew that. I mean, one way or the other, you were going to get double birded from those stupid generals on wing beast, and that probably wasn't going to go for. That wasn't going to go well. So I think he moved over there to regroup, maybe to weaken up the guys with his because the token is in the hand of that unit of pikemen. It's right in front of him. So I think maybe to weaken that unit down and then potentially charge and get his token back on the next turn. I don't really know what was going on here, but I suspect that's what happened. All right, I decided not to screw around. The last game I kind of played patty cake at the end of it and was too timid. Well, this time I didn't. This time I went ahead and just charged the pikeman and one of the generals up into the trolls on top of the hill. The one of the other generals, he charged into the lone mincer that's over there. Everything else is moving up to support just in case I need it. So like I said, this time I decided to be a little bit more bold toward the end of the game, and just try to do the finishing move and get it over with. So yeah, do you remember the lone hero that started out this whole thing getting charged? On the very last turn of the game, he's still down there fighting a winged by himself. You can see him right there in the foreground. The general charge up the hill, up the charge of the hill, and the pikeman. I think I got lucky and destroyed that unit, and then the other general on winged beast destroyed the mincer, and so now I had all three tokens, and this game is over. Yeah, so this time my army performed even better than it did last time. Of course, part of it is I've loosened up a little bit and understood what I could do and what I couldn't do. And I think the other thing too was just threat evaluation, that I realized that there were certain units in his army that weren't going to do anything to me, and so that allowed me to be a little bit more bold with the foot guard than I have been in the other games, and push them forward. When he threw everything in a row like that, and I could get both foot guards on one flank, I was like, oh yeah. Then I threw the general and a Pegasus and that silly hero on the horse over there on that side, and they ran the table. I mean, you saw toward the end of the game, the whole middle of the table is pinched, where they just smashed through. If they hadn't rolled snake eyes on the unit of flea bags, it would have been faster. I mean, probably a whole nother turn faster, accomplishing the breakthrough over there. So anyway, I was really happy with how the army performed. And like I said, a lot of it is I was a little more relaxed this game, and just doing the suicide charges with the fanatics into those trolls to weaken, because I don't have any missile troops. But I mean, I think anybody would be happy with their troops if they spent and had a consistent amount of damage coming out of those, out of something, a missile troop, so to speak, that was doing 5 and 6 wounds a turn. You would gladly pay that 90 points to make sure that you had 5 or 6 points of damage on a key enemy unit during the game at one point. And that's how I used them. I just used them like that. I didn't need them for a lot of other stuff. But I mean, even then, though, they killed the Maw Beast troops by themselves. They survived the attack and then counterattacked and killed all them. Fanatic troops are just super powerful. They're super powerful, and having not being able to be wavered was what makes them so. I mean, I know that Sam had talked about maybe that foot guard troops are probably close to being as good. They are, but the wild charge and the stinking unbreakable, to me, makes them the right choice. And during the last edition, I had painted up a ton of fanatics to play that formation in second edition. So I have plenty of models. I'm actually not using real fanatic models. I only have one troop of real fanatics. The other one's from my old army of Oryx stuff. And so they're in there as fanatics as well. I just want to again refer back to the Dash 28 article by Sam Nordberg, and I want you guys to read it and kind of understand what's happening here. And you don't have to have the exact same army as this to make it work. I mean, I think that there's a couple of variants out there. I mean, you could use, instead of having all those regiments of pikes, you could probably have 3 hordes with the 3 troops of fanatics around them and get something pretty close. But the regiments are a little more maneuverable. As you've seen in all these battle reports, the foot guard are really good at when they get ready to kill stuff, but they're kind of cumbersome because they're so big, and it's hard to get them around woods and stuff like that. And so you have to kind of be careful with them. And I still haven't really mastered where it's at, but I have so many drops. Usually the other guys drop stuff because he's worried about the flyers, but that actually lets me drop the foot guard in a more optimum spot than you would think. And I'm not really, he's not centering up his ace unit against them because he's worried about flyers. So the flyers, even if they don't do a thing, or actually affect how the other player plays and affects how that they move across the battlefield. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the battle report. This is the second one. Unfortunately, during the third game, my multiple sclerosis decided that it was going to be the victor of the third game, and so I had to bow out. As it turns out, the other guys wanted to go home too, and so we all left at the same time. It was kind of getting hot in the building, is why, because I guess we're at that time of year here where they turn the air conditioner off, but it creeped up into the 80s inside that building, and it was really hot. And so I think all of us were hot and tired and decided to bolt. My friend Ben Bowers was playing on the next table over. He was undefeated as well, but he had just beat me the week before, so I was really in a super mood for a rematch when I wasn't feeling well already. I know he'd already beaten me once, but I'm pretty sure he was the overall winner of this little event because he was just killing stuff with attrition, and I was just barely eking him out as far as the amount of damage. Because the first game I actually was upside down. I actually lost more than I killed in the first game because he had so much stuff concentrated in such expensive ass units. So anyway, I had a good time. I wish I could have played the third game. I told Ben the other day that I'll just maybe pick a day next week and just come down and we can play the rubber match, in our leisure, because of when he's not feeling well today. I'm not feeling well today, so it probably was a good idea that we skipped that last game. But I'll catch him next time, and we'll do another battle report for you for the grudge match. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching.